Let me introduce myself. My name is Ed McNicholas. I'm a security TSA in U.S. Commercial East, and I'm going to talk to you guys about SecureX Orchestrator. What our main objective here was to show you some integrated workflows around SecureX orchestration. One of the things that when we start showing orchestration and doing some things within orchestration that I've seen is sometimes, as engineers, we look at orchestration as just an automation machine, and that's not really what it is. So we wanted to kind of take it a step further and give you a little bit more of a deep dive around how do we integrate with threat response? How do we integrate with other platforms within Cisco security? How do we integrate with other multi-domain architectures such as Webex Teams or Cisco SDA and ACI or whatever else, right? But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to start with a use case around an external port scan attack, right? And then we're going to show some detection using StealthWatch Cloud based off an inbound port scan alert. And then we're going to do automated triage using Orchestrator to pull all observations in to Orchestrator so that we can then give you an alert via Webex Teams message and then also give you an automated response using Orchestrator, as well as, in this case, I'm using Cisco Defense Orchestrator to push out policy to everything outside, right? So as I go into the demo, I'm going to go into SecureX Orchestrator. Let me play this because I'm not doing it live. And within SecureX, we have our little panel here. We're going to drive into the workflow of an external port scan block list. And in the block list, what we're going to do is first reach out constantly every minute to StealthWatch Cloud and pull the API to see if there's any alerts in here. So within here, I have a relative URL path. I'm looking for open alerts for inbound port scanner. All right, so we're going to take all them alerts and we're going to dump them into a list. Within that list, then we're going to take the alert ID and we're going to query StealthWatch Cloud again, this time for the observations. So in here, I'm looking at all the observations for that StealthWatch Cloud alert, that inbound port scanner alert. We're going to take all them observations, we're going to click into a table, and we're going to save them. And then we're going to take all of them observations and all of them alerts, and we're going to dump them into a variable state to use for later, right, which is pretty cool. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a Webex Teams message. That Webex Teams message is going to give us first an approval request. This approval request is going to be for automating the response. So within this approval request, we're saying, hey, we got an alert in StealthWatch Cloud. We have this IP address. We want to blocklist it. Do you want to do it, right? Also within the Webex Teams message, we want to give you as much information as possible. So we want to have redirects to not only the alert in StealthWatch Cloud, but we want to take the observables and give you all the information around the observables. We want to integrate them observables into threat integration, into a threat investigation, and we also want to add an approval request into that message as well. And then last, we have to actually wait for the approval. So in this case, what's going to happen is we're not going to run the automation unless the approval was approved, not rejected, right? So once we have the approval, then we can actually automate the response. So from an automation standpoint, we're going to add the IP that's attacking us into a global block list. And there's two real things that we need to do here, right? First, we have to find out if the IP address is already there. And second, we need to pull in all the information around the block list group within Cisco Defense Orchestrator. So in the block list, we're going to go in, we're going to have Orchestrator go in the CDO and say, hey, does this IP exist in our block list already? If it does, just complete this orchestration because we don't need to do anything. It's already there. But if it's not, we need to create a block list object and add that block list object to Cisco Defense Orchestrator. We also, in parallel, need to go into the block list group and pull all the contents in from the block list group. After we get all the information around what's in the block list group, Then we can take the block list object that we just created and merge it with the block list group, push it out to Cisco Defense Orchestrator, and Cisco Defense Orchestrator can push it out to FTD, ASA, Umbrella, whatever we have CDO integrated with. So let's go into CDO, and I'm going to query my objects for block list. And as you can see here, we only have one IP address within our block list. It's 1.1.1.1. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring up our Webex Teams room. This is like our alert room, per se. And this is where all our alerts are going to come in for, in my case, Protovision, which is our demo lab. We're going to send the attack using our attacker machine, 172.16.2.110. And then we're going to come back and we're going to wait for that alert to trigger. Now, what we should expect here is to get an alert from our bot that we have set up with a whole bunch of redirects. So in this case, here's the alert. So I got an external port scan alert detection from StealthWatch Cloud. It says it's triggered an inbound port scanner alert. Also, what we're seeing here is StealthWatch Cloud redirect right into the StealthWatch Cloud alert screen. So this will give us, the inbound port scanner alert ID. It'll give us all the information around the alert. It will also give us all the observations around the alert, right? So we can dive directly into StealthWatch Cloud. To take it a step further, to make this even cooler, we can take all them observables that we pulled in with Orchestrator, and we can dump that right into a threat investigation. So we give you a redirect link right here to click on. This will dive right in the threat response with all the observations that we pulled in from that alert. And we can get right into the investigation. This way we can see verdicts, we can see sightings, we can see everything about this IP address that we may or may not want to block list. Right? So this gives us a tremendous amount of visibility within like minutes. Then the last thing is we have an approval. This approval request is really going to ask us, hey, now that you have everything that you need, do you want to block list this? So we redirect you right into Orchestrator, which has this approval workflow. The approval workflow says, hey, StealthWatch Cloud has found this IP address. Do you want to add it to the block list? And of course, we're going to want to add this to the block list. So we approve it, we click done, and then we're going to jump back into CDO to see what happened. So we go back into CDO, type in the block list, and as you can see, there's that new IP address that I just attacked from is the 208.100.1.103. So cool stuff, right? Automated remediation of an internal port scan within minutes. So let's go take a look at the run itself. So we can see here that it was successfully run. In Orchestrator, we can see that we reached out to StealthWatch Cloud and got the alert, added it to the list, added to the variables, got the observations. We also added it into a variable here and then created the Webex Teams message, the approval request. We also see this little red saying, hey, listen, we did not see this the block list object, so we're going to create a new block list object, right? And then we pulled all the information in, and as you can see as we went through it, that we were able to merge and update the list and send it out to CDO as you saw previously. So pretty cool there. So just to recap what we did, right? There was an external port scan. We triggered an inbound port scanner alert. We did a whole bunch of orchestration around pulling observables together, sending them messages out to Webex Teams. We built an approval request workflow, and then we automated the response of adding the IP address to the block list, which is awesome.